Welcome to another episode of Limitless Live. I'm really excited to be joined by my friend Nikki Luther today, who is the mastermind behind the massive Facebook group All Things Greenville that has now turned into a social events operation, a kind of charitable giving avenue, has done so many things for our community. And so that's why I've got her on today to be able to talk more about that. So first of all, Nikki, thanks for jumping on. And I'd love for you to just kind of like start by explaining the story a little bit behind what made you want to start a Facebook group? Where did all that come from?
Well, thanks for having me. I'm super excited. This is my first time doing this, so
Let's go.
I am super pumped to be here. So how it all started, well, it started as a Facebook group, as you already said.
Yeah.
11 years ago, I had just moved here not terribly long ago, and I was kind of looking for community myself. I was in a new town. I always say that I moved to Greenville before Greenville got cool. So this was like 12 years ago before everybody else realized how amazing it is.
Let's go.
And I was looking for a job, and I was looking for friends, and I was looking for the best restaurants, and I couldn't really, wasn't a great place to find all that information.
Yeah.
Around this time, Facebook groups became pretty popular, but it was mostly yard sale groups. There really wasn't, now there's 100, but
Sure.
back then there really wasn't very many community groups.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to make one, and I did, and I just ran it kind of behind closed doors for a while.
Okay.
And for a few years, it was pretty easy to do it by myself, but as we grew, I started adding on different admins and moderators to kind of help run the platform. But I really feel like our group and All Things Greenville really felt like we had a huge purpose, and I realized like this is more than a Facebook group was during COVID. That was really when things just exploded. So people were lonely, and people were looking for resources and toilet paper. And and our group kind of became a platform for that.
Yeah.
So we grew very quickly during COVID, and it was, again, I think people were just craving connection. They were craving community, and our Facebook group kind of became that, especially since we were all isolated.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So was the name always All Things Greenville? I think it had another name before,
It
right?
did have another name. It was originally called Yeah That Greenville.
Yep.
And that was kind of what it was for years. And then when COVID hit, and then they started releasing some of those restrictions, a lot of the people that I had met on Facebook were like, we have to get together in real life, because we basically created this community online, and now we can actually come together. And so everyone was like, we need to get together. We need to get together. And I was like, well, okay, let's do it. And then I realized, and I did not know before, that we needed to change the name. So we decided to do a rebrand because I wanted it to be fresh, and we were going to do this event, and I was like, this is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
So we literally came up with a bunch of different names, and then we landed on All Things Greenville. And so we changed the name, and I was like, well, if we're doing an event, I thought it was going to be like a small get-together. And then it kept growing, and it kept growing, and I was like, well, I think we should turn All Things Greenville into an LLC, because like if we're doing an event in public places with lots of people, I just want the protection of the LLC.
Sure.
So we turned the All Things Greenville into an LLC, and we started planning our first event, which I think is where we kind of started to connect, was right around in 2021 when we had our very first event.
You say we a couple of times. So you started this Facebook group, and now there's a we. So I wonder, how did you convince unsuspecting people to become moderators of a Facebook group? How did all that work?
Well, it's really funny because most of the time it was just people that I was interacting in the group a few times. So at times there was people who would reach out to me, but I was always very suspicious when people would reach out to me, like, why are you volunteering your time? And then they would always, some of them would win me over, but really there was the first few times was like, so actually I met Joanna Lynn.
Yeah.
She does Tiny Delights. She was probably one of the very first ones that I connected with. She actually was making cookies for my son's first birthday.
Oh.
And she's a single mom, and I'm assuming that she doesn't care that I share her story because I feel like she's awesome and I love her.
She shared it on Facebook. By
Yeah,
now.
I feel like she
covered,
has,
right?
but I wasn't planning. But anyways, go check out Tiny Delight. She's amazing. But she was making cookies for my son's first birthday. And I was like, girl, these cookies are delicious and they are beautiful. Like, the world needs to know about these cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I kind of convinced her to join the mod team. And I was telling her how the group had grown and how I was having a hard time approving all these posts by myself. And she was like, well, I don't mind hopping on and like helping every once in a while, just like approving posts, approving members. And then she kind of signed on. And then there was one time Xavier, like, he commented something funny. And
Yep.
I was like, so I connected with him. And then eventually I was like, well, and he was like, I don't mind helping. And we've had people come and go. And,
Sure.
you know, I think it's really cool, actually, because some of the people that, you know, came on to help, like, now they're it's just cool. Like, it's just been a really awesome way to like connect with people. So honestly, it just, I don't feel like I've ever really had to convince people. Like, I feel like our heart is just for the community and keeping people connected. It's really incredible to me how quickly people are like, yeah, I'll help, you know, like, yeah, they want to be connected. It's like a natural drive. Like, people want to be a part of a community, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So for us, it was always just a very natural thing. Like, people just, if they had time, and it's, you know, we have a team of 11 or 12 of us that run this Facebook group,
Yeah.
approving posts and members and trying to, you know, keep it respectful and
Yep.
keep the drama just enough to help the algorithm, but not so much to, you know, offend anyone.
Yep. Yep.
You know, we try to keep that line, you know, but yeah, so it's really cool. We've tried to keep that team very well rounded. Like, I even once I realized like how much of a reach we had, and this
Mm-hmm.
was back in 21 when we only had 20,000 members. Like, when we did our first event, we
Oh, yeah.
only had 20,000 members, and now we have almost 200,000.
Right.
And I realized even back then, I was like, man, like, we have such a reach. Like, we're really getting to connect with people. And I wanted to be very intentional about the people who were working behind the scenes. Like, even
Mm-hmm.
if they're not necessarily like the face of ATG, but they're behind the scenes, they are pouring into the decisions that I ultimately make. I wanted to make sure that I was getting connected with people who helped me make the best decision possible. So we brought on people like Chase, who is a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if anything's going on with our community and the education front, like, he's very quick to bring it to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
He's also heavily involved in the arts, like theater and music. And that's very important to me, that we highlight the people in our community who are pouring into our youth
Mm-hmm.
and who are pouring into the arts.
Mm-hmm.
And now we even have someone who works in the police department that's on our team.
Cool.
We have marketing. We have such a great wide range of people on our team that really help us use this platform to pour into our community.
Yeah. I love
So-
that. So going back to your story a little bit, I guess I want to ask, I know you mentioned COVID being like this crucial pivoting point, but I want to ask you personally, you start this group when you first moved here like 12 years ago.
Mhm.
Was there always like a seed in the back of your mind of like, as this thing grew, like, hey, maybe I could actually turn this into like a business? Or at what point, what was the point where you were like, hey, this could actually be something that could like help feed my family or actually help provide some income for me and not just have me on my phone or on my laptop for hours and hours every day?
Well, when I first started the group, absolutely not. I had no idea that this was going to turn into what it is. I definitely did not create it with the intention of, I am going to create a group with like so many people. Like, that was never even on my brain. Honestly, I was just trying to find a really good cup of coffee
Mm-hmm.
and maybe make a friend or two. And if I could maybe find a job, like, you know, like, it was literally like, those were like the highlights of the reason why I created the group.
Mm-hmm.
So in hindsight, even looking back to 2021, and, you know, we were just connecting with all these different business owners who were locally like here, like, you know, they own these businesses, they pour into our community. Like, that's really when I was like, I wanted to do stuff to help them. And even back then, I struggled with like coming out behind the Facebook group. I think
Right.
I was very comfortable behind the scenes.
Sure.
And then I kind of realized very quickly, like, there's impact to be made here, and there's real change that can happen and real influence that we can have in our community to bring people together. And if that means that I have to overcome my fear or anxiety of like people are looking at me. There's a camera over there,
Mm-hmm.
then it was worth it. So that's really, and I feel like even in hindsight, when I look at it, back when we switched over to in 21, when we were launching this group, and I was like, oh my gosh, like we've sold over 100 tickets to this event. We need to turn it into an LLC. I don't think my mind, even back then, was like, we're going to turn this into a real business that can feed my family. Honestly, I was just thinking, if something goes wrong here,
Right.
I need the protection.
Right.
Like, I don't want them to sue me. I would rather them sue my LLC.
Sure.
Like, worst case scenario. I mean, we had insurance, but I'm like, I'm honestly, like, I don't come from, like, I grew up pretty poor. Like, we didn't have a lot growing up. So I feel like for me, I just was wanting to protect my family that I
Sure.
had.
Makes sense.
And I think even when I created the LLC, I don't think that I ever really, I knew that there was potential, but trying to execute it in a way that was beneficial, not only for the local businesses in our community, but for the everyday person that uses our platform as a resource, for the people who are like how I was. They're just looking for a good cup of coffee and a friend.
Right.
Like, but actually keeping it what it is without turning it into something that it's not. Because I want it to still feel the way that it felt 5 years ago and the way that it feels today.
Yep.
I don't want people to go into it and be like, oh, they turned it into an LLC. Now it's like ad after ad and this after that. Like, I want to truly use our platform to amplify the voices of people that I would work with.
Right.
And I don't want to be bought. Like, I don't want people to be like, oh, this is my business. I'll give you this if you just advertise me. Like, there is like an application process. Like, I have to, we take it very seriously. So I think even in 21, when I got the LLC, I don't think that I was fully ready to like actually turn it into a business.
Sure.
And then we did the event and life was happening. And then a few years, like this past year, I was like, it just felt like the timing was right. I was like, I didn't want to waste it. Cause I was like you said, like it has to feed your family. And I was spending so much time on this platform.
Right.
And for nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even you can't even if you're monetized on social media, like you can't even monetize inside a group. Like those
Right.
so it wasn't even like I was getting my little $10 check from Facebook every once in a while.
Yeah.
It was literally hours and hours and, 10 plus people who helped me run it for free. And I'm like, literally, I'm like, this is a lot. But also it was like, if I shut it down, like even the times that we have shut the group down for whatever reason, people are like, where's the group? Like it is a resource. And so I was like, I don't want to shut it down, but I do have to find a way to make it an honest way to create an income for myself or our family and for it to still be what it is in an organic, healthy way. Like
Right.
I don't want from the consumer, because we work with a lot of businesses, but there's 200,000 people in this group almost.
Oh, yeah.
And most of them are the teacher that lives down the street and, the banker who's going to work and the blue collar worker who's getting up at 4 a.m. Like most of the people in that group are just normal everyday people. They're not all entrepreneurs and they're not all business owners.
Right.
So I wanted it to still have the same feel.
That makes total sense. So you said you can't be bought. Listen, I just want to ask you though. I've never heard you tell me this, but I have suspicions. Have people tried? Maybe even before it was business, have people tried to buy the group from you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's actually my favorite. So if anybody wants to send me an offer, it's literally I find it very fascinating to see what people think that it's worth.
Okay.
But yes, over the years we have gotten so many different various. They want to buy into the business. They want to just outright buy the Facebook group, not even the LLC. They just want the group.
Right.
That we've gotten so many different offers. I mean, it's always very fascinating to me to see what people think that it's worth.
Okay. Yeah.
That's.
The only reason I asked that is because I know of at least one of the other larger Facebook groups in the area was purchased by a business to basically then use it as kind of like hey, we've got a captive audience to be able to promote our business through. And we'll, approve some random in search of posts kind of stuff. But really it's just an opportunity for us to promote our business. And so I'm like, well, at the size that yours is, I imagine somebody had to reach out at some point. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, over the years we've gotten several and it's funny because all the messages seem to start pretty close to the same, but it is, I mean, I don't think that I've never been tempted to sell it.
Okay.
have talked to a few people who like wanted to buy into it, or they have different ideas. And that's the other thing. I feel like when you're running something that's pretty unique, because if you're a physical therapist and you're
Sure.
thinking about starting a physical therapy business,
Mhm.
you can research what other people have done pretty easy. Like there's a lot of people who
Oh, for
have
sure.
started physical therapy businesses. I don't know very many people who have started a business based out of a Facebook group.
Right.
So I feel like the model there, with a lot of it, we are learning as we go and figuring out what works for us. There are a few different people who've done similar platforms, or they run community groups, those kinds of things, but just making sure that it's genuine to like our purpose and our like what we believe in, and staying true to that, and still being a resource to our community and to the local owned businesses in our community. That's definitely very, very important to me.
Yeah. So I just want to ask you, maybe you've touched on this a little bit, but why? Why do you think that your group has grown to the level that it has when there are other groups that probably had a head start on you, or have, had decent sized followings that have stayed relatively flat for a long time? So obviously the events might be a small part of that, but there's got to be more to it in terms of what is it about the way that you guys have positioned your group, or that you moderate the group, or that you what is it? Why do you think it's taken off?
I mean, I can tell you my theories. I feel like there. I will tell you. So our last big event that we did was the winter social,
Okay.
and one of the things that people kept coming up to me and saying at that event was, "Everyone is so nice." That was literally like the common thing. And then even Xavier Pearson, who's
Hmm.
our event director, he said the same thing. He was like, "This really sweet person just came up to me and was just talking about how everyone here is so nice, and they've never been to like a networking or a gala where
Right.
people were just so kind to everyone."
Hmm.
And I like to think that that's part of it. I
Okay.
think that I have intentionally um, brought specific people, and I feel like sometimes I like to bring people together to keep it very well rounded.
Hmm.
I want everybody to feel welcomed and like they have a spot at our table. So like I said, I kind of touched on this before. Like we have different people from different backgrounds, different religions, different beliefs, and we all love each other so like just immensely. We
Hmm.
care for each other.
Yep.
And when you build those type of relationships with people, and it doesn't matter if we have different religious beliefs or different political beliefs, but we just care for our community, like if that's the foundation that we can build on, it's really amazing how walls can just fall down and you can just connect with the person
Hmm.
and not necessarily who they voted for.
Hmm.
So for us, I feel like that has a lot to do with it. The fact that we're very intentional about making sure that everybody has a place at our table and feels welcomed. So I feel like that's very important. I also feel like as far as the group, and if we're talking about analytics and like the growth of it, that is very heavily because of our team. We work very hard to make sure that posts are getting approved pretty quickly, that we are if there's a lot of Facebook bots that try to join the group, so trying to keep it clean of those. Our team is very good at keeping the platform organic and actually real people.
Hmm.
And actually real people.
Hmm.
So I feel like that, as far as the growth, is very important. And the other thing that I feel like has helped a lot too is if you go to another group, this is like, there's literally another All Things Greenville group. You
Yeah.
can go to their group. And the way that I always say is if you can tell if a group is a good group or not is if you scroll that group and most of it is just advertising.
Right.
You're scrolling it and it's literally, this person wants to come cut your grass. This person is going to move your stuff. This
Yeah.
person wants to cut your hair. Like if you're literally just looking at it and it's all is a billboard, that group is not really active. But
Right.
if you scroll it and somebody's like, "Hey, I saw this dog on the side of the road. Does he belong to you?
Right.
Hey, I just went to this new coffee place. Has anyone been there yet?
Right.
Hey, I have curly hair. Can somebody who's the best person that cuts curly hair?
Right.
Hey, I just got into a car accident. What lawyer do you guys recommend?
Right.
Hey, I just moved here. I'm looking for friends. Where does somebody go to make new friends? Hey, has anybody been to this gym?" Like literally,
Right.
but it's like actually conversations happening and
Mhm.
not just billboards.
Right.
And the way that we've cultivated that in our platform is we only allow self promotion once a month.
Yep.
So I feel like that helps a lot.
Hmm.
It does mean that our team declines a lot of posts.
Yep.
We literally approve probably like 500 posts a week. We usually decline double that.
Right.
So we're averaging about 2,000 posts a week, about like, or I think this last month it was like a little less than that. But we literally go through so many posts, but we try to make sure that they are relevant to Greenville, relevant to our community, and that they are not just billboards. Like, I want people to come to our group. That's why I always tell people, I'm like, you get one post a month.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a good one.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
I'm like, make it a good one. I was like, don't come to our group and just spam share like you do the other groups. Make it something engaging, because the other thing is, like, other platforms, you might post in it, but people aren't actually seeing that group because that group's not active.
Right.
So it's almost like, if you're going to post in our group, you get one, make it good.
And the one that you get doesn't have to be on a specific day, right? There's
No,
not like a self-promo day.
No. So we do a self-promotion Thursday,
Right.
which you can do it in the comments.
Right.
And then what we do is we use our platform, our page, to then go out and share, like, the people who comment in it. But as far as your own individual post in our group is once a month. I don't care what day it is.
Right.
You just get one calendar month. So you get one for February, one for March,
Right.
April, May. You get one a month. And so I always just tell people, like, when you post, like, make it good.
And actually, I think that is a great strategy that you have also, that it's one a month, but it's not on a specific day, because there are other groups that will have whether it's once a week or once a month, but it's on a specific day. And because everyone is trying to post on this one day, now all of a sudden, not only the reach, but just the whole message feels diluted, because you're the 57th person that's already posted in the same group about the same thing.
And then nobody wants to go to that group.
Well,
It's clogged up.
Exactly. But also, it's like you're competing for eyeballs. How many people are going to scroll 57 posts deep to find yours, right? It's just that I think, as a business owner and someone who has utilized that feature, it makes it more valuable to me, because I know the chances of eyeballs actually seeing it are higher, because it's not just pushed at the bottom of the first 50 people that got ahead of me in line, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we've talked about kind of the past, or kind of everything that's led up to current day for All Things Greenville. What's the present? Describe a little bit more about, like, some of the things that you guys have been rolling out over the last few months, with some, events, some partnership opportunities, this directory, and all kinds of stuff like that. So what kind of describe for me, just kind of like taking the pulse of where things are at there with All Things Greenville.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's super exciting because we do have a lot of moving pieces right now. So the partnership program, I feel like, is the most relevant, because in 2021, we did try to sort of run out. We called it preferred vendor back then.
Right.
And honestly, again, I just wasn't ready. I think for me, I didn't have the team that I have now. And I'm very much a all or nothing. I'm like, I would rather this group just be a Facebook group, and then when I'm ready, like, we're gonna smash it. It's gonna be epic, right?
Yep.
Like, I don't do anything halfway. It's all or nothing. It's got to be perfect, or I'm just gonna skip it,
Right.
So we started doing our events, and I was like, okay, I really want to dissect this idea of what is an All Things Greenville partner. What does that look like? Who does that person? What does that business look like? So we kind of started doing that, and I decided I wanted to do, like, a pre-launch, if you will.
Yep.
And I was like, I wanted it to be, like a 90-day process where I could really work pretty closely with these local business owners, really figure out what a value can I offer to really make it worth the investment, and also, like, making sure that it's people that I can wholeheartedly back up and know that if I refer somebody to Limitless, like, I know that you're going to take care of them.
Yeah.
And that is very important to me. So things like that, it really was just a long process and a lot of just labeling things out. So we launched the partnership program, and we had 170 applications. We took about 25. So that's been going on. We're about a quarter of a way into our 90-day rollout. And so far it's been really good. I'm excited because about halfway through, I'm going to send, like, a feedback, like, just so that way we can kind of keep fine tuning it. We are launching our website soon. We are working with one of our partners, See Me Agency. Michael is amazing. He has a great team. And the idea behind that is I've always wanted to have an online directory that was specific to local owned businesses, right? So I wanted to be able to, if somebody comments or posts in our page, hey, I'm looking for XYZ, I want to be able to say, hey, you can check out our website. Like, we have a directory that's specific to locally owned businesses.
Yep.
and they can search that directory to find what they need, and they can scroll the comments because there's also a lot of analytics
Sure.
about Google searching and versus, Facebook searching and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So that's there is a lot of moving pieces. Like we're launching out the website, the directory, and our partnerships. Those are the two like bigger things that we're working on right now.
Okay.
I feel like I'm rambling.
No, you're doing great. So that was a burden to try to whittle down from. Did you? Let me just ask you this: did you have a finite number of partners that you wanted to approve in mind, or was it more about just making sure that you filtered out the people that weren't a good fit, and you would take as many good fits as you could find?
Oh no, it was definitely. I knew that I wanted to stay under 40.
Okay.
I felt like 30 to 40 was kind of my window that I wanted to hit, especially because I want it to feel very intentional and I don't want it to be overloaded. And I want to be able to create a relationship of some sort and get to know these people. And what was really exciting is that there was a lot of people who applied. Some people that I'd never heard of, some people that I've worked with on and off over the years, people that I just would see comment that were very active on our platforms. So there was people that I did was like, definitely like I've worked with you in the past. I definitely feel comfortable moving forward, like, especially because I wanted a good mix of people who knew ATG
Mm-hmm.
and knew how I operated. And I wanted a good mix of new faces too,
Sure.
but that still backed what our core values are and like
Mm-hmm.
what we believe, especially our community side of things, you
Right.
know? Because we can have different beliefs on pretty much anything, but if you love your community, like we can vibe,
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
good. So for me, I definitely knew that I wanted to be 40 or less.
Okay.
And just more or less making sure that it was somebody that I could recommend and feel comfortable sending people that way. Because I feel like when you associate yourself, when you call someone a partner, your reputation is side by side their reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So just like you wouldn't put your reputation next to mine if I was doing, I
100%.
feel like it has to be a two-way street. So I definitely was not in the business of just taking as many as I could. I'm in this for the long haul. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want this, I'm not in it for the short term, like, quick money. Like I really want this to be something that's impactful for our community and a resource and that brings people together. Because ultimately that's my heart, is just bringing people together.
That's
So,
awesome. Well, I can speak from being a part of that pre-launch group, which has been really cool. When the opportunity came about, it was a no-brainer for me because it's a platform that we already were being recommended in a lot, and so really grateful, honestly, for the community, both of clients, friends, family, people that we've met through networking, whatever it is. When there would be a post that would get thrown out there, it was just like attack dogs. They would go
mm-hmm,
out there and start tagging us, which we're extremely grateful for, and then being totally transparent. I mean, we've gained some very high value clients through those opportunities of people just either being the poster, or as you can, I'm sure, are aware, there's people that they aren't the poster, but they see
mm-hmm,
like, oh, well, they post about this thing, and I've been kind of on the fence about needing that myself. But now that I see that this one person's been recommended 20 times, like, gosh, I probably should just talk to that person. Or
mm-hmm,
there's people that just 6 months, years later, they just go and search the group and they
mm-hmm,
find stuff from years ago where somebody posted about some very specific thing that we
mm-hmm,
happened to be a solution for, and they came back to us. And so all that to say, we already had a strong presence in the group. So it was one of those, like, from a marketing standpoint, there's a million different ways you can go about it. But I find that the biggest mistakes that I find that I have made and other people made is you can spread yourself way too thin from a marketing standpoint. You just do
mm-hmm,
like a little bit of a lot of different things.
mm-hmm,
And for me, my response to that is I just want to take the things that I know are already being successful and just double down on those things.
mm-hmm,
Right? Like say, hey, if we know this works, how much more juice can we squeeze from this orange? Like we already know this works. So why not go ahead and just invest a little bit more, but also get a little bit more in return, right? In terms of the ability to be featured and post more and all that kind of stuff. And so even from that, as a business owner, I looked at it obviously from an ROI standpoint. And from our business, I know several businesses are different in terms of what they do and how they make money. But for us, it's like, if we get one person that comes our way because of this,
mm-hmm.
it's 100% worth it, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't have to sell. I mean, I'll just use Joanna as a counterexample, right? Like she sells cookies. Like she's
Mhm.
probably got to sell several dozens of however many cookies to make
Mhm.
an investment worth it. For us, it's like that's one patient,
Yeah.
right? Like we get one patient that pays itself off, and then we know what the lifetime value of that patient is way more than that. So for me, I'll say it was a no brainer, and just obviously it's early feedback, but
Well, I appreciate it.
yeah,
I'll
early
take it.
feedback
Yeah.
is it's been great. Like there have been a couple of times where those same posts that would typically happen where people would come in and tag us, but because we're a partner now, there's also been both the other partners, which has been cool,
Mhm.
kind of come alongside, but also the page itself recognizing us as a trusted partner in this area,
Yes.
which just brings an added level of trust and credibility, which I think has been really cool.
I think it really does. And honestly, when I first launched the like All Things Greenville partner thing, having the page comment and recommend wasn't really like I kind of had the idea, but it wasn't like on the forefront, which I think is funny because when you're presenting like as All Things Greenville, hey, we're opening partnerships.
Right.
This is what we're offering
Mm-hmm.
and this is the price, right? And I think majority of the people and the page commenting was not part of that. Like this is what we're
No, I
offering.
wasn't expecting
Yeah,
that.
that was actually kind of like something that I realized like oh my gosh, like this, why didn't I think about doing this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what I feel like a lot of the people when they read over like what we were offering for the price was the additional posting. So
Mm-hmm.
our partners get to post once every 14 days, right? And
Right.
they use the hashtag ATG partners. And it's funny because I don't think that was what most people were excited about as far as our partners, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like very many partners have actually utilized that side of things,
Right.
which I feel like it kind of tells you literally don't know anything
Right.
until you actually start rolling it out and you
Mm-hmm.
figure out what works. But actually, I ended up hiring a virtual assistant to help me with the posting on various posts of our page being like, hey, like I see that you're looking for this. This is our ATG partner. This is who we recommend. Like they do great things in our community. They'll take great care of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to have gotten the most traction
Mm-hmm.
as far as that goes. So, and it's like, trying to make sure that all of our partners reap benefits in various ways. Cause I feel like every business model is different. So, for example, there are some businesses who we don't see quite as many opportunities to go in as the page, where physical therapy and haircuts, like we get those type of posts pretty regularly.
Sure.
But other posts or other partners that we have are maybe they come around, but not as often.
Right.
So, trying to make sure that we're still pouring value into all of our partners, which
Yep.
is part of the reason why I wanted to keep it relatively smaller and manageable. So that way our team could really invest in our partners the way that they've invested in us.
Yeah.
So,
What went into your thoughts and decisions around whether to make certain like businesses or categories or professions exclusive or non-exclusive? I'm sure there's some people that are like, I want to be the only plumber. I want to be the only physical therapist or the only whatever. But also knowing that, there's some implications that come with saying that you won't do this. So I wanted to hear your thought process. Just
so that is a conversation that I have had with a few different people over the years is exclusivity. That's such a that word. I don't know. I feel like we're so community driven
mm-hmm.
that I'm not against it. I'm not saying it's never going to happen.
Yep.
But I do feel like for me right now in this season, I just feel like community is important. And when you're like exclusive, I only work with Limitless.
Right.
To me, that is a divide.
I agree.
And for me, that just doesn't set the energy of everybody has a seat at my table. If I'm exclusive in physical therapy, then nobody else who's even in that niche can sit at our table.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like ultimately one of the pillars of what we're building and what I believe is that everybody should have a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I've never really been there. And I've also tried to keep the pricing in a way that's mostly acceptable. It's not out of this world crazy high. Like I want people to feel like they can afford it, that it's worthwhile to them, which is also part of the reason why we're now starting to roll out members. So
Mm-hmm.
members will kind of be our middle guy, kind of like even how you mentioned on Joanna with the cookies. Like how
Right.
many dozen cookies does she have to sell to meet that partner buy-in?
Right.
Well, if she's a member, she doesn't have to sell as many because
Right.
it's a lower buy-in.
Right.
But she still gets some of those benefits,
Yep.
So for me, I feel like as of right now, we don't have any exclusive roles. And even when people apply, like I try to make it bold, underline. People can see we don't do exclusivity in ATG right now.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but as of right now, for what we're building, exclusivity just doesn't feel like community to me. It feels like there's some kind of divide there. So,
yeah, and my unsolicited perspective on that is I completely agree with what you're saying. One of the reasons that I don't ask for exclusivity as a business owner either is because I fully recognize that we're not the right fit for everybody. And that's okay too, right? Like if we design this really watered down business that will do an okay job for anything that comes along, I wouldn't feel great about that either. So our approach is to try to be magnetic in what we do. And of course, people forget that a magnet has two poles, right? So our goal is to just like be the absolute slam dunk, perfect fit for the people that need exactly what we do. And then to repel everything else.
Yeah.
And to be okay with that, right? To say like the people that come to us are going to have a phenomenal experience because we are genuinely going to be the best at this. Okay.
And for them.
For this particular person, right? But for then the person that calls that's like, hey, you know, we just have a newborn baby and they have torticollis. It's like, okay, I don't have to try to be the pediatrics expert. We don't treat pediatrics here. So like I don't have to try to be everything to everybody. Right.
But I think there was even a post that was like that. And I remember I tagged you in it and I was like, I don't think that this is what they do. But I remember saying, I bet you he knows who does. Because I don't know who does that.
Exactly.
And I was like, but I bet you do.
Yep.
And I remember I even commented, I'm like, I'm not sure that this is exactly a perfect fit, but I bet you he knows who would be.
Exactly. Right. Same thing. Like strokes and spinal cord injuries, for instance. It's like, yeah, that's just not what we do. Like we don't have the equipment. We don't have the staff. Like that's not what we do. And there are people that genuinely need great care and it's our responsibility to help push them that way. But it's not the like, oh my gosh, gimme. I need anything and everything because the last thing I want to do is position myself as a solution for somebody when I know I can't really help them. Or like this relationship's going to have a ton of friction because they're going to want something that I just can't provide. Right. So I would actually rather filter that out on the front end and just be, hey, we're going to be the absolute best in these categories. If you need this, come see us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm A-okay. Like, I just want you to know, I won't be threatened if there's some other physical therapy group that wants to jump in. Because the other part of it to me is that, like, there's a years-long process of building trust and credibility in the community. So if somebody can swoop in and, let me just smack my microphone there. If somebody can swoop in and somehow overcome the level of buy-in and credibility and trust that we built over the course of a couple of years, that's on me, right? Like, that means I haven't given enough. I haven't done enough to earn that strong of a seat at the table, right? That's not a, oh my gosh, I got to try to keep everybody else out because I'm afraid that they might somehow, you know, start climbing over the walls and conquering us. That's not how I see it at all. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's my perspective too, is I'm not one of the people that raised my hand and was like, hey, I'll give you an extra $100 if you make it exclusive kind of thing. I don't need that.
Yeah.
So.
And honestly too, like that's the other thing that I've learned too, is that when it comes to exclusivity, most people, one, they don't want to pay for it.
Correct.
Like that's like, if you're telling me I can't work with, even I'll use our sip and dip, for example, that's our wellness social that we're doing. We just launched tickets yesterday actually. And you're a part of it with us. Yes. I'm super excited. But for example, I would say chiropractic was even higher up on than physical therapy. We literally had so many applications.
The sharks in the water. From
oh man, and I love chiropractic care. Like I am a big fan. Okay, so is it exclusive? No, it is not an exclusive. So I could fill up every single event partner, but I do try to keep mindful of like different locations. So I feel like when you're in chiropractic care, typically your ideal client either lives or works within like a 10-minute radius of your office, right? Sure. So if we have a chiropractor who's like all the way on Wade Hampton, I'm cool with having somebody from Simpsonville.
Right.
Because their demographic and who they're trying to reach, pretty different. Unless, so we do keep those things in mind. If somebody mostly does like sports recovery versus like pregnancy, like, I try to keep it diverse.
Yep.
And that everybody's bringing something different to the table.
Right.
So yes, and even with All Things Greenville, like that is another thing why I was never quick to rush into it, because I wanted to build trust. Like to me, I'm like, if you can't trust my word, if you can't trust what I'm trying to build, like again, there's no like, what are we even doing here? I want people to know the heart behind our team and what we're building. That it is truly about just building community and amplifying the voices of what we're building and the people in our community. You
Yep.
know, that is ultimately the goal. We're also trying to make it where it's feasible that we can sustain it, you know, like from a return on investment, you know, we have
Yeah.
to be able to sustain it. But what I've found, and I feel like I struggled with that in the beginning, I was like, I don't want to charge people. Like, I don't want to do that. But I have learned that I've been able to give back even more and do even more than I was otherwise.
Right.
So it's been such a cool experience, like just getting to connect with people and use our platform for good and to like amplify the resources in our community and the people that others wouldn't have even known about before. It's just been wild, like how the growth, like just since we've really been intentional about what we're doing and
Yep.
who we're doing it for and why.
Yep.
It's been such a blessing.
Yeah.
Like it's been really cool.
What is your goal or expectation for partners going forward too, in terms of like, is it something where you hope that these are people that are just not just, hey, I'm paying for my 2 extra posts or whatever a month, or they're actively engaged in the group, they're jumping in on events and sponsorships and stuff like that? And is there maybe goals and even expectations? Like what do you expect from a partner other than just, okay, hey, I bought my 2 posts, leave me alone? Or like, hey, we actually want you to show up and be present in the community.
So it's definitely important to me. And what I have learned too is that everybody shows up in different ways.
Mm.
So, and that is actually perfect. So there are people who are more active in the group, who are actually engaging, commenting, or making their little posts. You know, they're every other week doing a post, engaging, those kinds of things. And then there's other partners who maybe they're not posting in the group as often, but they're reaching out and they're like, hey, how can we help with this next event? Hey, I saw that you posted about this event idea. Like I'll even use Larkin's as an example. I had this great, you know, the sip and dip an idea. When I was thinking, I was like, I want cold plunges, I want sauna, I want matcha, I want great coffee. I want people to come and be able to experience health and wellness on a different level. You know, I feel like we're going to an age where people don't want to get drunk at 3 a.m. anymore. Like we don't want to, but like I still like loud music and I still like to party. I just want to be a little healthier about it, right? So when I kind of just posted this idea, that one post got like 300 comments.
Sure.
And everyone was super excited about it. One of our partners, Larkins, reached out and was like, hey, I saw that you posted this event. Like, can we talk about maybe having it here? And then Pickle Park, who's also one of our partners, he reached out and was like, hey, how can we get involved? And so to me, like those 2 particular partners, they might not be super active like online or on social media, but they're very active on like pouring into the community and like cultivating a space in real life that allows people to come together. So I feel like everybody brings something different to the table, and that's what makes the table so awesome, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's cool. Like I feel like everybody, and then there are some like newer people who are still like, what is this table? Like you can see they're like kind of suspicious. Like, why is everybody? I even had somebody say, why is everyone so nice? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm really happy that you're here.
Yeah,
You know?
there you go.
So it's been cool, but
So we've caught up to the present. Let's just spend a little bit of time talking about the future then. So, and I'll be honest and say, me personally, I'm a little bit resistant to these conversations myself. People ask all the time, you know, what's your vision for Limitless 2 years from now and stuff like that. I'm like, every time I set that goal, life throws us about 7 different curveballs, and we either end up completely changing our goal or crushing that goal by 500% within a year. And it's like, what was even the point? I have learned that setting my sights on some shorter, more digestible, like 90-day goals are helpful for us. You can answer this question however you want, but I'll just say, like, in your mind, how does this, besides we've talked about like the income side of things, just helping support your family, but what does success look like as someone who is, you know, the owner of All Things Greenville, the LLC side of things, continuing to facilitate a Facebook group? What would you say, looking back in a year or two, you feel like, man, we've continued to make this a success?
Well, I think that you're very right because I've been asked this question a few different times, and looking back at some of my answers, I'm like, whoa, like I did not answer that correctly.
Right.
So I'll use, you know, there's like definitely been some avenues of growth that I didn't expect or that I didn't see coming. Like I'll use our email marketing as an example. I never expected email marketing to be like huge for us. Like our email list literally went from 1,000 to now we're almost to 10,000 in 3 months, which is like insane growth, like wild. So that has been a new learning curve for me because email marketing, like I said, was not in my, I did marketing in the past, but email marketing was never it. So as far as our growth, I'm totally open. Like, I feel like I try to just, I follow my instincts, you know? Like,
Okay.
I do have an idea, a guideline of what we're rolling out. Like, we rolled out our partnerships, and I knew that I wanted to roll out something in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So I ultimately, like, our partners would kind of be the top. And then I wanted something that was accessible in the middle, something for the person that's selling cookies, someone who is a local florist, somebody who takes care of animals. Like, I wanted to have something that was obtainable for everybody, not just for the guys who had the brick and mortar and that had been around for, years and years and years. Like, I wanted to create an ecosystem, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's ultimately what my goal was. And then even rolling out the directory, I was like, I want to be able, like, if you want to be on the directory, that's just, $99 a year, 365 days. And you don't even have to be a member. You don't even have to be a partner. You can just be on the directory because we're going to be sending people there to find locally owned businesses. Like, I wanted it to be obtainable and accessible for almost anybody.
Sure.
If you're in the community, you're local, you're trying to grow your business, you're an entrepreneur, you're an author, you're an artist, whatever it might be, like, I want you to find some type of benefit in our community. So as far as our growth, we are rolling out memberships, we're rolling out partnerships, and it's kind of like you said, it's hard to speak on like what some of those goals look like.
Yep.
But ultimately, I feel like ecosystem is a really good way to describe what I'm trying to build. I
Okay.
want everybody to feel connected and to pour into each other because I've just found, especially being behind the scenes and being the person who's approving the post for literally years, nobody
Mm-hmm.
knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I have consistently seen is that the business owners and the people who put community first, the success just seems, I mean, it's hard work, but it does seem to just flow naturally for them because they're taking time to create relationships. And it's not, and I don't like the word networking because it feels very cold to me. But I want people to recommend each other because they do good work and because they're good people and because they have a relationship with these
Mm-hmm.
people. And ultimately, friendships and relationships are the backbone of local owned businesses. Like, I feel like so many people sleep on what community driven marketing is that they miss it. So as far as our growth, again, I feel like it's hard, but we are rolling a lot of things. We love doing the in-person events.
Mm-hmm.
We love being able to help amplify the voices of local owned businesses in our community and bring awareness to, other things that are happening, like that we can use this platform. It doesn't even mean I'm not getting paid for it, but
Sure.
that's not the whole point. The whole point is that I can, if there's a local, high school theater group and they needed a shout out to sell some tickets, like, yes, I will. Yes. Even our events, like, I always try to tie in some type of element of give back. So like even at the Winter Social, we raise money for Jasmine Road, to bring awareness to what they're doing in our community. Like,
Mhm.
I want to always use our platform and what we're doing to amplify the voices of others and to encourage people to be generous and to give back. And generosity isn't always with your money. Sometimes it's with your time and your gifts and your resources. And so for us, like, if we can just keep doing that, then I'm good with it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. I just have
mhm.
one more question for you. I always like to finish with a little more lighthearted question. So I was trying to think of one for you, and it kind of came to my brain as we were talking. You do a lot of things.
Yeah, all the things.
Yeah, all the things. There you go. What do your kids think you do?
My kids think that's a good question.
Thanks, appreciate that.
So it's funny. I was actually getting ready, and I like was trying to figure out what to wear, and I was like doing this, and my 4-year-old, he goes, "Mama, do you have an event today?" That event. They're always like, "Mama, you have an event today?"
Okay.
And they're like, "Are you gonna go see those people today?" Like, they think that I feel like event and people and getting it's funny, and they'll even watch videos of me with microphones,
Mm-hmm.
like when I'm talking to people, and they're like, "Who let you have that microphone?"
Oh, that's
Like
so
they're
funny.
so funny. So I think like they think that I get a lot of people together and I don't think they really know why. You know, they're only
Okay.
6 and almost 5.
Yeah.
But they always say, "Mama does events. Mama does events." So
There you
I feel
go.
like that's the bulk of what they do.
Okay.
So that's, we've tried. They know that we like raise money. Like we've talked about like raising money because they'll be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" But I feel like events and lots of people,
Okay.
and that's
And the
pretty.
events are probably memorable for them just because they notice you're not there, right? Or
Yeah.
they notice that, I'm sure that the lead up to an event is very busy, and so it's very present, and so that's what they remember. What do they think when you're just like on your phone or the computer trying to scroll through an approved post, and so they
Oh,
just
man.
think like, "Oh, mommy's just playing on her phone,"
I,
like, and you have to tell them like,
I
"No,
tell
this is actually important."
Yeah,
Like,
I tell them that I'm working, and it's really funny because my husband, when I first was doing it, and he was like, he used to always say, "You're playing on your phone."
yeah,
And then actually a few weeks ago, he was like, he made like the boys were like, "What are you doing on your phone?" And my husband said, "She's working." And for me, that was like an aha moment. I was like, "Oh, it
okay.
clicked in my husband's mind." Like I was like, "I feel appreciated and seen right now. That was so hot. You just did that, babe." Like I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
So I do feel like there has been a shift, especially because, like I said, I didn't always treat All Things Greenville like a business, and that's on me. But once I shifted it to like, this is my business,
Mhm.
like this is also my heart project. Like it's
Mhm.
both, but actually treating it like an ecosystem
Yeah.
and like a business, there was a shift.
Yep.
So I do have to be very intentional. I have 4 kids. They're all 6 and under. So it is crazy. I wake up almost every morning at 4 a.m. So usually my work hours are from 4 a.m. to like whenever my kids wake up. And then I try to like make breakfast and I try to be out of my phone. It is hard. So those are definitely lessons I've had to learn. I feel like when you're in the season of growth and grind, sometimes you get so hyper focused
Yep.
that sometimes you do have to scale back and say, okay, I'm going to put my phone on airplane mode. I'm going to take a minute. And even if it's just an hour, like it's amazing how much you can connect with your children in just
Yep.
that short amount of time.
Yep.
So you definitely have to be intentional. I feel like it's helped a lot since we've hired a virtual assistant.
Nice.
Getting some key people in place to kind of take some of that load off has been super beneficial. But as far as what my kids think and how they perceive it, it's funny because if I start, I'm in mom mode, usually messy bun, like
Mhm.
I'm leggings and I start putting on my Greenville shirt is what they call it, my All Things Greenville shirt. I start putting that on and my son will be like, "Do you have a meeting today?" And
Ah.
so there is like a shift, like I notice that they can tell when I'm getting out of mom mode and getting
Mhm.
into work mode. Like they'll ask me, "Do you have a meeting today? Do you have an event today?" Things
Mhm.
like that. And then I also work at night after they go to sleep. So I feel like my business hours are like 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then like 9 to 12,
Yeah.
So it won't be like this forever, but honestly, there's been so much good that's come out of it. And I love it so much that it hasn't even felt like very mentally taxing
Yep.
because I love it so much.
There you
So,
go. All right, well, I'm going to finish by I want to let you cut a promo for the Sip and Dip event. Why don't you tell
oh my
people about
gosh.
when, where, how to be involved, what they can expect, all that, and then we'll wrap things up.
Okay. All right. Well, the Sip and Dip is on May 31st. It's at Larkin Sawmill, which is an amazing venue. It's going to have a VIP hour, which was really popular at our last event, and it sold out really quickly. So, VIP hour is going to be from 10 to 11. And our VIPs are going to have exclusive experiences. They're also going to get a really awesome beach towel that's embroidered with our logo. I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
We have some amazing partners that are onboarding. We're going to have everything from like IVs to the soft wave therapy.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on getting massage, coffee, matcha. We're working with some incredible businesses. We've got a really great DJ that's going to come in. We want it to be wellness, but fun and approachable. Like that's ultimately the goals. I feel like sometimes people come into like wellness events and it's very stale and stagnant. I want the music to be up. I want there to be like hype and excitement, almost like you're at a club, but instead of taking tequila shots, we're taking juice shots.
Yeah.
Like that's ultimately the vision that I have for it. I also want it to be a way that people can experience and try things that they wouldn't have otherwise. Even your soft wave therapy, like
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see what it's like and experience it,
Come on.
and I'll get to on May
That's
31st.
right. Let's
So
go.
I want people to be able to come in and meet new people and dance and laugh and have fun and take espresso shots. And, if you're brave, get in the cold plunge. We're going to have a mobile sauna come in. We're going to do some breakout workout sessions. Like, you can come and work out and do the ice plunge and do the sauna. Or if you just want to come and hang out and drink coffee and, get some IV and get a facial, like, you can do that too. Like, I feel like there's going to be something there for everyone. But the biggest thing that's going to be there is community and friends and a good time. And ultimately, that's what we're all about. So,
Love it. Nikki, in terms of those folks who are listening or watching, what's the best way for them to get plugged into what's going on with All Things Greenville? And specifically, what's the best way for them to get to you if they want to learn more about how to become a partner, a sponsor for an event, listed in the directory, whatever that may be?
So if you want to I feel like you can just scroll the Facebook group and generally find my Facebook pretty dang easily.
Yep.
I'm not
Yep.
very hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to our website, allthingsgreenville.com. It will hopefully be getting launched soon, but on there you can sign up for our emails. We send those out once a week. Sometimes a little bit more, but usually once a week. You can email me, hello@allthingsgreenville.com. That's my email. I respond to all of them mostly. And so message me on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. We try to keep everything up to date there. But honestly, once our website launches, that will be a really great resource, a hub of all of our events, all of our partnerships, our membership, and just a good resource for our community.
Yeah, and we usually publish these a week or two behind, so hopefully by then you'll have some traction there. I got you.
So.
Well, hey, Nikki, thank you so much for taking the time to come by. Really enjoyed chatting with you. I'm sure we'll have to do this again sometime, but I'm excited for the short term to be a partner, to be involved in the Sip and Dip event, and then whatever else we have in the future. So,
Awesome.
yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah.
Bye.